You're watching ABC4 News with Emily Flores, Glenn Mills, and Alana Brophy.
Thanks for staying with us. New allegations against the Navy and frustration with the Department of Defense from the wife of an officer jailed in Japan.
Yeah, Lieutenant Ridge Alkonis' wife, Brittany, speaking to News Nation after the Department of Defense announces plans to stop his pay. She says he suffered a medical episode sparking a deadly crash in Japan, but Japanese officials do not agree with that. After receiving a call about the end of her husband's Navy pay, Brittany says she learned the Chief of Naval Operations attributed false statements to her husband in a speech to officers.
They're not just not being helpful, they're actively causing harm, and they have been for 19 months now.
Senator Mike Lee taking this case up publicly multiple times, speaking at rallies and on the Senate floor. Now he's calling on the Secretary of Defense to grant Alkonis an exception to the policy, with Brittany and their children living in Japan and relying only on that income.
Time now for Utah's most accurate forecast with Alana Brophy. Weather rates certified 11 years in a row.
All right, switching gears now for another look at the forecast. We have some activity on the way.
Yeah, and hopefully that'll help clear up the skies, Alana.
Well, we need to, because we definitely are inverted in certain spots. We notice that layer of smog out there. Our live look from Ensign Peak shows the cloud cover that has taken over, indicating that there's more moisture in the air. And unfortunately, we're sucked in Salt Lake County, but we're not the only area. Now, tomorrow we get a stronger cold front that will come through. But before it does, we know air quality will stay in that unhealthy category. For the eastern side of the state, it's forecast by the Department of Environmental Quality for northern Utah as well to hit the unhealthy category for sensitive groups, and moderate air expected in Utah County and over into Willa County. But we should clean it up because we get this storm coming through and it's got strong winds with it. So hopefully we'll bust out of that inversion. This cold front is going to bring accumulating snow, and yes, there will be a commute that's impacted. Tomorrow evening, the evening commute, we get that snow coming through. We've got new storm alerts that are posted. I'll break them down. Behind that cold front, we open the door for this Arctic blast of air. Very dangerously cold wind chills are around the corner. I'll show you for where. And then another possible system as we head towards Christmas weekend. We'll take a look at Friday. Live look at the Cedar City Airport, southern Utah. Temperatures at 40 degrees. That just looks pretty. Sun going down, some cloud cover down there in Iron County, and snow on the ground. Satellite radar showing the cloud cover that I talked about, indicating that moisture in northern, eastern, and portions of south central Utah. Now, you do see some embedded light showers in there. That's something that we're watching as we get through tonight towards Utah County and in the north near Brigham City and Pleasant View, so heads up there. But this is just the beginning, because our next storm, as we roll into tomorrow morning, starts to amp up. It is prompting a winter weather advisory in purple, and that's for our valleys, and a winter storm warning in pink for the high country. That includes the northern mountains, the Uintas, as well as the Cottonwoods and the Wasatch Mountains. We are expecting another quick foot and wind gusts up to 55 miles per hour. So we are going to pack a punch with this system. The moisture is kind of tied to the cold front that's going to come through, and that's why our evening commute will be impacted. You can see the model picking up on that moisture tonight as we make it through the evening. Heads towards Mount Pleasant and Castle Country and Nephi. But as we roll into early tomorrow morning, we start to see the increase in this wet weather. Here we are by 4 a.m. There we go. Northern mountains tapping into it. Now, temperatures are going up. So as a result, we could start as rain or get some of that sloppy wintry mix before turning straight over to snow. 6 a.m. walking you through from Montpelier in Idaho all the way down from the Wasatch all the way towards I-84, Evanston, I-80, and the mountains will continue to see snow bulking up throughout the morning and afternoon hours. Then the cold front makes its presence known. There it is. The front comes through in the afternoon. By 3 p.m., we're watching the band of snow associated with that impact valleys. That includes Brigham City, Ogden, Kaysville. Watch as the front heads a little further south. Here we are by 7 p.m. Layton all the way down to Lehigh, dealing with that band of snow. This is as the evening commute's happening, so we're going to see cold temperatures, sloppy conditions on the roads, and we watch as that band of moisture continues until 10 p.m. It holds steady, and this is where the accumulations will come from. 1 to 4 inches expected, 1 to 3 really in the valleys. Now, that's not our only system, because as we get closer to Friday, another brush by will impact the northern portion of the state. But here are the Wednesday totals: 3 to 6 on the benches, 4 to 8 for the mountain valleys. They're going to accumulate fast. 6 to 12 for our northern mountains. Cottonwoods could get a little healthier, 10 to 15. Now, this is an Arctic front. It opens the door for that frigid air to seep into northern Utah, and we get really strong winds with this. So much so that a wind chill warning going into effect. This does include Cache Valley, Logan, Brigham City, the backside of the Wasatch, as well as over towards eastern Utah. 8 p.m. Wednesday through 11 a.m. Thursday, we could see wind chills up to -20 in those areas. That is dangerously cold. Frostbite can happen in under a half hour. Also, high wind watch for the western Uinta Basin as well as Castle Country as we get west winds with gusts up to 65 miles per hour, 20s, 30s, and 40s. I told you that warmth starting as rain turning to snow, 43 in Moab, 50 in St. George. Okay, here's a look at the long range. Dry conditions in Washington County. And you definitely notice those temperatures warming up, but different story for the north. We've got a lot going on. That frigid air is going to settle in. Now we're on the western side of the low, which means it's going to be a short blast when it comes to the Arctic air. It's not going to stick around forever, but noticeably a wind chill warning doesn't happen frequently. But guys, -20 places like Brigham City, Cache Valley. That's with the wind chill.
That takes me back to my Green Bay days. That's cold stuff.
Thank you, Alana. We appreciate it.